Hey, what's up guys, it's Apollo here and welcome back to my channel Apollo Extra. After a long time, I'm back with a new series on my channel. It is a long awaited series because most of you guys on my main channel as well as on my second channel wanted me to make a Naruto X One Piece crossover-ish, or One Piece story in which Naruto achieves the power of One Piece characters or fruits or whatever. Since I haven't watched One Piece, I was able to find a fan fiction online. And yeah, shout out to Secure Zone Icon for writing down the story. It is his story. All credits to him. And make sure you leave a like and subscribe to my channel before we continue this series on this channel. And without any further ado, let's begin with the first part of this series. Roll the intro. Our story begins with a 5-year-old blonde hissing in pain as he moved through the dark forest. Naruto Uzumaki heard his stomach roar. Today was his birthday, or as he called it, the most hated date of the year. His muscles ached from lack of energy. He swung his fist into a tree and immediately hissed in pain. "Why is it always me?" The child hissed. "Aren't you a little young to be out here alone?" Naruto looked at the old man in front of him. He wore a faded red vest and jeans short. On the top of his head was a worn-out straw hat. His skin was wrinkled and his one pitch black hair was grey and white. "My name is Monkey D. Luffy," he introduced himself. Naruto looked at the man's eyes and seen nothing but concern for him. "I have to hide," Naruto whispered. His skin was pale from fear. "Why?" the old man asked. He took the straw hat off and began eating an orange. "I don't know why." He looked at the man. His stomach roared as the man ate. Luffy smiled and handed half the orange to Naruto. "The people of my village hate me," he added, eating the orange quickly. Luffy smiled sadly. "Oh, I see." He handed Naruto an orange. "Do you want to hear a story of me in my younger days?" he asked. Naruto smiled. "Sure thing, old man." For the rest of the day, Naruto heard Luffy talk, holding Naruto's attention with stories of adventures of his crew, how he had become king of pirates, his fights with many of the strange and powerful pirates. Luffy smiled as boy began to act out the stories. Luffy stopped and said, "Naruto, do you want the power of, the power to defend yourself?" Luffy had his straw hat off and put it on top of Naruto's head. Naruto looked up from underneath the hat and nodded. Luffy smiled and dug into his bag. Naruto watched as he pulled out a large purple fruit. "It's called the Gum Gum fruit," Luffy explained. Naruto looked at the strange purple fruit. He looked up at the old man and swallowed the fruit whole. He nearly puked at the rubber-tasting fruit. Luffy laughed heartily at the young blonde. "Here, this will help you with the powers you have just received," he told Naruto. Luffy handed Naruto a small leather-bound book. Luffy stood up and began down the path. Naruto jumped up and yelled, "Hey, old man, where are you going?" "Back to my wife," Luffy answered simply. Naruto watched the man disappear. The sunlight began peeking over the trees. Naruto sighed. "It's a new day. It's time to start my journey to become the greatest Hokage," he exclaimed, throwing his hands all the way in the air. Naruto felt a strange sensation pass over him as his arm stretched into the air. "What the?" Naruto screamed, echo loudly through the forest. 1 year later. Naruto was standing in the training field. He was snapping his arms lightning fast, stretching across the field and slamming into a mannequin. His hand snapped back and he immediately spun his wrist. "Gum Gum Drill!" he exclaimed loudly, throwing his fist forward. His fist spun and he slammed into the mannequin. His spinning fist immediately seared through mannequin. Naruto snapped his wrist back and smiled. Before yelling loudly, his fist raw from the friction, Naruto bounced from foot to foot, blowing on his fist. "Never again," he cried. Naruto didn't notice a man in a deep green spandex suit with a large grin watching him. A red-eyed teen with silver hair man shook their head. "Naruto has the flames of youth that are burning brightly." The man roared joyously. "Quiet, guy." The green man's comrades snapped in unison. 1 more year later, Naruto was dodging wild haymakers swung by his classmates. He smirked when he see an opening. Rapid fire! Naruto exclaimed, jumping into the air and sending his rubber arm towards the shocked boy. Naruto's classmate threw up his arms to defend himself but was propelled backwards from the fist. Naruto smiled as the boy flew out of the white circle and rolled unconsciously to Iruka's feet. Naruto swung that hat confidently on his outstretched fingers, and the year passed once more. Naruto was moving quickly, swinging his arms in a lightning-fast movement. He suddenly snapped a large knife out of one of his pouches and threw it. He was sweating and breathing deeply. He took the straw hat off his head. Naruto sighed loudly, the moon glinting off the small pond. Naruto swung his arms and stretched his arms and jumped into the tree. He was moving quickly. Naruto stopped abruptly. He heard a loud crack of a slap. "Quiet, brat," a man hissed loudly. Naruto looked towards the voice and moved slower. Naruto glared at a large man carrying a small girl. The man was thick, wearing pure green. The little girl had was a small blue hair with a bowl cut and white kimono. Her eyes were pure white. The man slapped the thrashing girl again. "I said quiet!" he growled. Naruto jumped off the thick branch and exclaimed, "Gum gum rapid fire!" The man whipped around just in time to take 4 blurb punches to his guts. He released the girl and grabbed his belly and yelled in pain. Naruto landed and spun his fist. "Gum gum drill!" Naruto swung. The man screamed in agony as the fist dug into his belly. "Gum gum wrecking ball!" Naruto finished blowing into his left hand. The hand grew into the size of a bowling ball. He punched the man into a tree trunk with a loud bang. Naruto's arms went back into their normal state. He fell onto his butt, breathing deeply. He casted a glance at the wide-eyed girl. "Hey, are you okay?" he asked. I'm fine," she whispered weakly. Naruto jumped and looked at the girl in the eyes. He gasped, "Hey, you're Hinata Yuga!" She blushed a deep breath. "Naruto?" Suddenly Naruto felt a searing pain pass over his back. Before seeing a flash of white, he fell numb onto the ground. "Father, Naruto saved me!" Hinata exclaimed. The tall, white-eyed Yuga looked down on the blonde, withering on the ground. Hinata was standing defiantly in front of him. "How did he save you?" The man rumbled. "He used his bloodline ability," she said. Hiyashi Yuga picked up the boy. "Let's go. We have to take the boy to Hokage-sama." He grabbed the collar of the unconscious man against the tree and dragged him along, fighting the urge to end the man's life. The graying old man was woken up by Hiyashi Yuga. He was carrying Naruto Uzumaki in one arm and was dragging a Kumo warrior in the other. Hinata followed timidly behind him. "Hokage-sama," Hiyashi greeted. Kumo attempted to take Hinata. He told the Hokage calmly. He then dropped Naruto on the couch and flickered his finger. Hinata sat beside the unconscious boy. Uzumaki defeated the man and saved Hinata. The old man sighed loudly. Hiyashi watched the man rub his temple. "So do you wish actions for this attempt on your daughter?" he questioned. Hiyashi shook his head. "I do not wish another war, but I do want to ask something." That Minato spoke before his death. 1 year later, the blonde-haired boy was running through the street, laughing loudly. "Naruto!" A Jonin ninja screamed from behind him. Naruto swung his fist, which scratched to the top of the roof. He yelled loudly, "Gum gum grappling hook!" He slingshot himself into the air. The Jonin nin looked up and shook his head. "Naruto!" He sighed. As another year passed by, Naruto was bouncing through the tree line happily. His legs were stretching when he would reach a gap he could cross. His straw hat was bouncing as he jumped. His hands were bound tightly in bandages. He heard a loud crash. "Damn! She's tougher than she looks!" He heard a growl. Naruto changed his trajectory and slungshot towards the voices. He stopped abruptly, landing on a thick tree branch. 4 men were pinning a black-haired girl with dark red eyes. Naruto eyed the red-eyed girl. His eyes filled with heart before becoming determined, as the teenagers were trying to tug off her suit. "Hey, stop it now!" Naruto ordered loudly. The 4 men whipped around and nearly busted out laughing. A short blonde-haired wearing a worn-out straw hat. He had a bright orange vest, which showed his skinny arms. His deep blue pants shorts were blowing in the wind. The largest man laughed. "And who you're supposed to be?" he asked jokingly. Naruto put his hands on his hip and exclaimed, "I am Naruto Uzumaki, and I am going to be the greatest Hokage." The four looked at each other and said, "Get him." Naruto froze up. He didn't realize that he could be outclassed. Naruto swung his fist lightning fast, slowly down their assault on him. He jumped into the air, stretching his legs. The four stopped and watched with awe as he sailed through the air. He grabbed onto the woman's hips and pulled her into him. He jaggedly moved forward, and suddenly a thin wire wrapped itself around his leg. "Oh man!" he yelled as he too crashed into the ground. A teenage girl jumped and said, "Quick! Attack now! I have them in Genjutsu!" She ordered quickly. Naruto reacted immediately. He blew into both his thumbs and roared, "Gum Gum Cannonball!" The four thugs' eyes widened as the large fist slammed into the center of their bellies. The group fell away from Naruto. "Come on," Naruto called out. The four were rolling on the ground. Suddenly, a puff of smoke filled up the clearing. The thugs were replaced a silver-haired man, a man with a bowl cut, a purple-haired teen, and a black-haired man with a wild beard. "Holy crap, Kakashi! How did such a scrawny pack that much of a punch?" The purple-haired girl gasped loudly. The silver-haired man rubbed the bright red mark in the center of his chest. "I don't know," he grunted. The bald man jumped up and took a valiant stance. "Naruto's youthfulness sears bright like our sun," he roared. "Shut it, guy." His three comrades groaned. Naruto was jogging next to the female. She suddenly turned. "I'm Kurenai Yuhi." She introduced herself. "So what was that with your legs?" she asked finally as they continued down the path. Naruto let out a loud laugh and jumped in front of her. He smiled and tugged his cheek, stretching it much further than naturally possible. "I'm from Konoha. I'm known as the Konoha's Rubber Man," came his grabbling voice. Kurenai laughed slightly as the boy showed off his ability. "Rubber," she laughed. Naruto nodded and bowed loudly. "Yup, and with these powers I will be the greatest Hokage ever." He jumped up and threw his arms and legs stretching across the dirt path. Kurenai watched Naruto bound up and down the path quickly. "Maybe one day, Naruto," she told him. Naruto stopped abruptly, tears coming to his eyes. Naruto ran and jumped into the shocked ninja's arms. "No one has ever believed in my dreams," he cried, hugging Kurenai tightly. He suddenly released her and said boldly, "You'll be my wife when I become the Hokage." She watched the boy disappear down the path. Kurenai sighed. "Yeah, right." 1 year more passed. Naruto was standing. He did a flurry of hand signs. "Clone Jutsu!" A feeble white dead-looking clone appeared beside Naruto. Yuka sighed as the student laughed. "Maybe next time, Naruto." He watched Naruto swing his fist into the wall beside the door, leaving a large dent. "So much potential!" He felt the dent, but needs more control. Naruto sighed as he jumped onto a rooftop and started running into the village. 1 year later. Naruto was snoring. His back was bunched up. He suddenly felt a pair of hands grabbing him. A pair of red eyes locked with his blue ones. "What are you doing?" she exclaimed. "Hurry, wake. You need to work on your clone jutsu." Naruto glared at his self-proclaimed fiancée. "Fine." He groaned, pulling himself out of her grip. She watched Naruto reach down and pull blue t-shirt from the ground and sniff it. "Does this smell?" Kurenai winced. He pushed the t-shirt in her face and asked again, "Does this smell?" Kurenai double-take and exclaimed, "Naruto, get your dirty shirt out of my face." Naruto threw it into the ground and walked around the dirty room. "How about this t-shirt?" He swung his arms and stretched it across the room into Kurenai's face. "Naruto, I'm not your mother," she said, throwing the blonde t-shirt away. Naruto sighed. "Fine." He pulled on a third blue t-shirt and grabbed his bright orange vest. "There, happy?" he taunted. She was across the room, kicking clothes into his laundry into a pile. "Do we need to get over cleanless again?" she countered. Naruto shook his head. "No." He then looked at the laundry. "Can I use your laundry machines?" he asked. He smiled and looked up and gave her a puppy dog eye. "Please, Kurenai-chan," he whimpered. Kurenai hit him. "Yes, but don't ever do that again," she said. Naruto jumped up and did a heel clicker. "Yes," and then grabbed her wrist. "Now it's time to learn the clone jutsu." Across the ninja village, an old man wearing a bright red and white suit was watching Naruto drag the jonin across the village quickly. A group of jonins were watching. The old man sighed. "So this is why Kurenai didn't come." The guy couldn't help but have a small smile. "Okay, begin, Kakashi," he ordered calmly. The silver-haired jonin cleared his throat and said, "Inuzuka Kiba, Haruno Sakura, and Uchiha Sasuke." He answered calmly. The Hokage nodded his head. "Okay, I agree." The group of slowly went through the list of Kenin's candidates. Miles away in the forest, Naruto and Kurenai were working. Each clone looked nearly dead. Why can't I do this? He screamed. Kurenai patted him and replied, You need better chakra control. She looked at the clone before sighing. Naruto, I want to teach an extremely dangerous jutsu, she told him. Naruto jumped and looked at her and nodded hurriedly. Let's go, Kurenai-chan. Naruto watched as she slowly moved throughout the variations of the clone jutsu. Shadow clone jutsu. She winced slightly. Naruto walked around the two. What's this? He snapped loudly. It's just a clone jutsu. Suddenly the clone touched his forehead. Naruto nearly screamed. It's solid. The clone laughed and explained. The shadow clone jutsu takes more chakra, which means your massive chakra will be much more satisfied. Naruto nodded. Now copy exactly what I did. Kurenai ordered. Naruto smirked and put his hands together. Shadow clone jutsu. Kurenai watched the entire paddock become covered with white smoke. Hey Kurenai-chan. 100 Naruto clones' voice echoed throughout the paddock. Her eyes widened and she moved her hand from clone to clone. Naruto? She yelled and started punching the clones. Naruto dispersed the clones. Kurenai grabbed onto Naruto. What's the matter, Sensei-chan? He asked. How are you feeling? She asked desperately. Naruto pulled away and looked down. Fine. Why? Naruto stuttered worriedly. She looked down in shock at the clone. Naruto. The clone jutsu splits equal amount of chakra throughout all of the clones. She told Naruto quickly, walking around him. Naruto turned and said, Well, I'm going for ramen. His stomach roared in agreement. Bye, Sensei-chan. Kurenai watched Naruto run down the path. After she lost view of Naruto, she muttered, How much chakra does he have? That night, Naruto was sleeping loudly and soundly. The dreams of the red-eyed woman foreshadowed were watching him. The only woman in the group growled hatefully. So this is the rubber kid. She was standing over him and whispered, He doesn't look special. The six-armed boy pulled the girl away. Orochimaru-sama wants him. Suddenly the four felt a blade touch their necks. Saunin, a female in a cat mask, sat in shock. Grab Naruto. Take him to Kurenai. She'll protect him. The cat-masked female ordered calmly. The fifth ninja grabbed Naruto and, in a swirl of leaf, disappeared. So bitch, are you going to kill us now? The female Saunin taunted. The largest of the group whipped around and threw the Anbu into the person holding his commerce with two heads. He kicked the Anbu on the holding the six-armed boys. And finally the six-armed boys sprayed a web across the room and locked the female in a cat mask onto the wall. Maybe next time, bitch. The female taunted before diving out of the window. The four Saunins ran out of Konoha. The group was angry. Kimimaru will not be happy that we failed Orochimaru-sama. The female growled lowly. We'll get the kids soon enough. The two-headed hissed. Naruto whipped his head around so the Anbu flew from roof to roof. What? He groaned in his half-sleep state. He suddenly felt the sensation of dropping. The Anbu remained silent as he banged on the door. What's the matter? Kurenai groaned as she pulled open the door. She then caught sight of the blonde and immediately asked, What happened? The Hokage will tell you tomorrow. The Anbu answered before disappearing in a swirl of leaves. Kurenai grabbed Naruto. She threw a pillow and blanket from the closet. You know where this couch is, right? Good night. Naruto stumbled to the couch and crashed down. The next morning, Naruto was sitting in his desk at the academy, wearing his footy pajamas and his straw hat. Yuka sighed as his eyes went over the blonde appearance. As you know, today is your final day at the academy. Your final exam will be graded by a short written exams and a 3-part taijutsu weapon and ninjutsu exam. He told the class. Naruto steered through the first part of the exams, passing with a 51 on his exams. He said he had a course got top of the class in the taijutsu portion of the exams, using his trademark brawling style. He once again struggled with his weapons. They were worn out and dull. He finally came to where we've been here twice, Naruto. You know what to do, Iruka told him. Naruto put his hands together. Sexy, Iruka froze and Naruto winced. Change? He exclaimed. Naruto disappeared in a puff of white smoke. Iruka prepared himself. When the smoke cleared a perfect copy of Iruka was standing in front of original. Iruka clapped. Good work, Naruto. But I have to ask, it looked like you were going to use sexy jutsu. Why did you stop? The bronze-skinned teacher asked. Naruto shivered. I did it in front of Kurenai-sensei. I spent the next 10 hours running from a pack of genjutsu-induced dogs. Iruka attempted not to laugh at Naruto's frightened expression. He said, Okay, Naruto, next up is the reason you failed the test last time, the clone jutsu. The second teacher watched in shock as the demon brat is passing his exams. Naruto began to do the hand signs of his jutsu. Iruka-sensei, can he use another variation of the clone jutsu? Yasuruka nodded and immediately Naruto exclaimed, Multi-shadow clone jutsu! 10 clones of Naruto appeared in front of Iruka, whose jaws dropped. Iruka got up shakily. He touched the forehead of each straw hat wearing clone. Naruto, when did you learn this? He whispered. Kurenai Sensei thought I might have overwhelming chakra, so overloading my clones with chakra, and since the shadow clone takes more chakra, she figured it would be easier for me to do this instead of the regular one. I personally came up with the multi-shadow clone jutsu though, Naruto exclaimed proudly. The Hokage smiled. Team 8 is complete, he whispered to himself. Iruka grinned proudly. He took one of his leaf headbands from his desk and made his way to Naruto. Well, Naruto, congratulations. I must say, I'm proud that you passed. Naruto shakingly took his headband. He took the worn-out straw hat from his head. He tied the headband to the base of the straw hat and exclaimed, I'm a Genin now! He then suddenly grabbed Iruka and said, Ichiraku Ramen, you're buying. Iruka sighed. Fine. Tonight. Yeehaw! He hollered, jokingly running around of the academy. Naruto, tomorrow you'll get a team assignment, he yelled after the boy. Mizuki growled in frustration. How did he pass? Naruto was sailing towards the Hokage Tower. Let's go get him! Naruto whipped around. Two people in matching green jumpsuit were standing behind him in matching poses. A strange flame seemed to burn in their eyes. Yes, guys, sensei! He roared loudly. The shorter green-wearing boy charged Naruto, his bowl cut glinting in the sunlight. Leaf Hurricane! The boy spun lightning fast, kicking Naruto in the belly. Then with his left foot kicked Naruto in the ribs, effectively knocking him into the ground. What's that? Naruto yelled, jumping to his feet. Lee threw his arm in front of him and yelled, Our youthful fight will the stuff of legends. What? Naruto questions, but the boy rushed him. Fine, you wanna fight? Naruto expanded his fist and the two started trading haymakers. Guy continued to watch the two fight. Lee was kicking more often, but Naruto's durability seemed to counter the advantage. Lee smirked as the two swung a strong hook into each other's face. Lee jumped back and laughed. Naruto-kun, let's spar again soon. Lee then put both hands on his hips and laughed. Our youthful taijutsu will show everyone we're truly splendid ninjas. Naruto sighed. Yeah, okay, whatever. Naruto immediately realized he said something wrong as the fire lit in Guy and Lee's eyes. Lee, his cool attitude is like my eternal rival Kakashi. Yes, Guy sensei, Lee exclaimed. Lee, we found you an eternal rival. Yes, Naruto-kun is truly my eternal rival. Lee roared. If I do not beat you in next spar, I'll run on my hands across Konoha 50 times. Lee got into his fighting stance, putting his left hand in front of his body. Naruto whipped around and ran as the green-clad Genin charged. I just wanted to see the old man, he screamed. Kurenai was reading her Genin team. Why did I get Naruto? The Hokage's brow went up. I thought you would want the blonde ball of energy. Nobody wanted him. Kurenai guessed. The old man sighed loudly. Yes, if only they saw the potential he has. She shook her head. Well, his skill set doesn't suit me. He clearly is a taijutsu user. She told him, I've already spoken to my guy and he agreed to train him. If, Kurenai cut it in, if he passes his test. Suddenly, Naruto flew into his office, pouring sweat. Get them, old man. Naruto exclaimed. Lee bowed slowly, sweating slightly. Naruto jumped behind Kurenai and shoved her. Take him out with some of that genjutsu of yours, please. Naruto ordered. No, Naruto. She stated calmly. Come on! You're my wife-to-be! And you, she began, but was cut off as Guy charged in and roared joyously. Kurenai-chan, you're getting married? Congratulations! I must say I never thought that Naruto-kun would be your type. Naruto was getting more and more... Kurenai was getting more and more irritated as Guy continued on his speech. Naruto-kun, she whispered too calmly. Naruto jumped away from her as a dark aura surrounded her. Protect me, old man. Please, Naruto yelled as he dove over the desk, but the woman grabbed the back of his orange vest. The Hokage watched Kurenai drag Naruto out of his office as the boy yelled, Don't let her take me. The two self-proclaimed green beasts watched in shock. I'll help you, my eternal rival. Lee hollered and charged out of the door. No, Lee-kun. Guy chased after Lee. The Hokage rubbed his temple and muttered, How in the world did I end up in the world of most unprofessional shinobis? The next morning, Naruto was sitting in the academy classroom. His face was bruised slightly. The group of Genin talked loudly. Quiet. Iruka yelled, Okay, now here's your team assignments. He began reading until he called out Team 8. Team 8, Hinata Hyuga, Shinobu Ramen Naruto Uzumaki. Your joining instructor will be Kurenai Yuhi. He looked down, meeting Meeting her in training ground 13, Naruto looked at the blue-haired girl who he saved years ago. She wore a thick cream sweater and blue shorts. She blushed faintly as she locked eyes. She wore the leaf headband around her neck. The quiet boy wore black sunglasses and a silver sweater with a high collar that cut off half of his face. He nodded slightly at Naruto. Okay, goodbye and good luck. Yoruka dismissed the class and Naruto ran and grabbed Shino and Hinata. He ran towards the thick forest. They flew across the roofs, dragging the two. Naruto, let me go, Shino said in monotone. Fine. He released the boy and the two sailed across the gap between buildings. Hinata was rubby and unable to talk. Naruto smiled as the sailed into the tree. Keep up, Buck Boy, Naruto exclaimed. Shino grumbled slightly as the blonde continued on. They finally came to a heavily forested area. Hello, teammate. Hinata and Shino bowed at the red-eyed woman. Sensei-chan, Naruto greeted. She glared slightly before sighing and starting to explain. We're a team now. We are a Team 8. Using the Hinata Byakugan and Aburami's bugs, we're specialized in tracking. Naruto threw his arms up and asked, Then why am I on this team? I can't track at all. His two teammates nodded in agreement. The Hokage felt we needed a taijutsu user to balance out our team. Kurenai answered calmly, You'll eventually be our main head-on battler. She added. Naruto smirked and expanded his fist. That's awesome, but first you'll have to pass a test of my own. Suddenly a smoke bomb flew down. Damn it, Uncle. Too soon. Kurenai coughed loudly. Purple-haired woman in a BG trench coat appeared with a mesh t-shirt in front of the three cannons. You have to catch us and take these. She held 6 silver bells. The group nodded. Good, at least they're not stupid. Then she looked at Naruto and added, Well, 2 out of 3 aren't stupid. She then whipped back black ball into the ground. The group became covered in black smoke. Naruto sat on the ground, Hinata and Shino followed. So what's the plan? Naruto questioned the two. Shino answered calmly, Well, we should get after the uncle lady first. Why? Hinata stuttered quietly. Naruto knows tons about Kurenai-sensei, so he can probably help us track Kurenai easily. Shino answered coolly. Naruto nodded in agreement. Okay, let's go then. The three were moving silently across the roofs. They spent most of the morning looking for the purple-haired Jonin. They finally found her sitting in a dingy little bar, eating dangos and drinking. So I'll attack openly, then you and Hinata attack while her guard down, okay? Naruto whispered and dove off the roof. He leaned on in front of the door. Naruto pulled out a kunai. Anko was laughing as she finished her second to last dango. She was about to bite onto her last dango when suddenly a blade flew and destroyed the dumpling. Her eyes widened in fury. The patron of the bar moved to the wall in unison. Who did that? She roared loudly. I did. Naruto called out loudly. Anko whipped her head around, her eyes blazing in anger. I'm going to strangle you. She screamed and charged at the blonde. Naruto slammed the bar door but was too slow as the door blew off its hinges and slammed into him. The street went silent as the purple-haired woman charged at Naruto. Come, rapid fire! Naruto yelled, swinging his fist. Anko dodged the first one and blurred forward and punched him in the face. Naruto bounced down the streets. That was my last dango! She roared loudly. She grabbed Naruto and started throttling the Genin. Naruto smiled broadly. Why are you smiling? She growled. She suddenly heard a dinging coming from behind her. I was only a distraction, he stated. Fine, you beat me. She put the blonde on his feet before giving him a vicious left hook. You owe me a dango. Naruto rubbed his jaw. Yeah, I know. He winced, holding his jaw. Good work, guys, he muttered. The woman's nut. He added. Hinata stuttered. Where do you think Kurenai-sensei would be, Naruto-kun? Naruto thought before smiling. I know. He then took off. When we attack her, we can't let her focus for even a split second. She's a genjutsu user. So Hinata, keep those eyes on. Hinata nodded. Okay, let's go. Naruto jumped from the top of the tree and landed in front of Kurenai. Sensei-chan, he greeted calmly. Where's the rest of the team? She asked calmly. They were too slow, Naruto answered, putting his head in front of his face. Do you really think you can beat me one-on-one? Kurenai asked. Naruto swung his fist, his arms becoming a blur as he swung haymakers at the genjutsu nin. She smiled. This was the first time in months she got to see him use his rubber abilities. He jumped up and kicked her in the belly. She grabbed his feet. She was about to spin his feet, but suddenly they shot into her stomach and bent her sliding into a thick tree. She growled in frustration at the blonde holding her pinned firmly. She grabbed Naruto's foot and pushed firmly. Naruto slammed headfirst into the ground and Naruto rolled and yelled, "Gum Gum Bind!" He jumped into her, grabbed his rubber body around the woman's arms and legs. "Now, Hinata! Shino!" Kurenai's eyes went wide. She heard the two thumps behind. The two plucked the bells from her hips. She suddenly disappeared, being replaced by a log. "You could have escaped," Naruto exclaimed loudly. She nodded. "Yes, but... and I also knew Hinata and Shino were waiting in the sidelines," she told the three. "Good work, you used your skills and overcome two Jonins. Welcome to the ninja world, teammate." Naruto smiled and grabbed Hinata and Kurenai. "Ichiraku ramen! Sensei-chan is buying." "That's not happening, Naruto-kun." Kurenai laughed as he dragged the two. Shino followed slowly behind them. Things were certainly looking interesting for the new team. As this is where I'm going to be leaving this part of, guys. Do let me know in the comments if you have heard or, read the story. If you did, then yeah, let me know how do you think about the story. I'm gonna give my opinion later on because I'm in midway of this story. It's really interesting for the time being. The writing down is quite off a bit in and out, but yeah, it's just a great story. And that is why I'm sharing this story to you guys. Anyways, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to both of my channels if you like the content of these channels. And I'm thinking of making this channel, Apollo Extra, into the series channels where I upload series. Longer series. While on the other channel, I will be continuing on with my movies and short movies regime. Anyways, this is Apollo and I'm signing off for the day. Peace!